deep dive. Today, we're tackling something I think pretty much everyone deals with at some point. Procrastination.
Oh, definitely. That urge to delay.
Right. You want to get started, break free, but it's tough. So our mission today is to pull out some quick wins. We've been digging into beat procrastination in 5 minutes.
Yeah, looking for those really immediate techniques you can use, like right now.
Exactly. Actionable stuff. That source title itself, Beat Procrastination in 5 minutes. I mean, it's bold, isn't it?
It really is. It grabs your attention because, well, who doesn't want a quick fix for feeling stuck?
So what's the core idea behind that promise? How can you supposedly beat procrastination in just 5 minutes?
Well, based on the concept, it seems like it's less about finishing anything major and more about just lowering that initial barrier to starting.
Okay, like the activation energy, you mean?
Precisely. Think of procrastination as this huge, heavy door you have to push open. This approach is like finding a way to just, nudge it open a tiny crack in under 5 minutes.
So it's not about completing the whole task.
Not at all.
But just doing something within that short time.
Exactly that. That first step is often the biggest hurdle, where all the resistance piles up. If you focus on something super small, something you know you can do in 5 minutes,
it feels less overwhelming.
Way less. It lowers that mental block. You get a little hit of progress, even if it's tiny, and that can sometimes be enough to, get the ball rolling.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And what strikes me, even without diving into specific methods from this piece yet, is just the idea of a 5-minute start. It feels manageable.
It really does.
It's hard to argue you don't have 5 minutes somewhere, right?
Right. And psychologically, that's the key.
Yeah.
The commitment is so small, the perceived effort is minimal. So that voice in your head saying, this is too big, it doesn't really have much ground to stand on.
It bypasses the overwhelm before it even starts.
It's a clever reframe, really. Just changing the scope of that initial commitment.
So, okay, the takeaway just from this framing is shrink the first action. Make starting feel possible. Like, instead of, I have to write this whole report, it
could be, can I just write one sentence? Or can I find that file I need? Something concrete, immediate, and crucially short.
Breaking the big, scary thing down into a tiny, non-threatening first step.
Yeah. You make the abstract task into a very small, doable action.
So for you listening right now, maybe you think, what's one tiny thing related to something you've been putting off that you could genuinely do in like the next 3 minutes?
That's a great practical application right there.
Because it doesn't have to be this huge shift in your habits, maybe.
Exactly. This suggests that tackling procrastination might not need some massive life overhaul. It could just be about using these small, almost simple tricks to sidestep that initial inertia.
Gently coaxing yourself into action, maybe?
Sort of, yeah. Like giving yourself a little nudge instead of trying to shove that boulder uphill.
Okay, so summing this up. The core idea is that a brief, 5-minute start can be a surprisingly powerful tool.
Yeah.
Make that first step so incredibly small that it feels almost silly not to do it.
Precisely. And that tiny bit of forward motion, you'd be surprised how often that makes the next step feel easier too. It builds momentum.
Okay, so here's the thought for you listening. What is one thing you've been delaying?
Yeah.
Just pick one. Now, can you identify one single micro action, something related to it, that would honestly take less than 5 minutes?
Like opening the document, writing a single bullet point, finding the phone number.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Could you try doing just that one tiny thing right after this? Seriously, right now.
See what happens. That small start might just be the crack in the door you needed.
And who knows, that first tiny action could be the start of figuring out what really works for you in beating procrastination more consistently.
Absolutely. It's a starting point for further exploration.